Roughly 40% of the human population is physiologically prone to developing allergies and asthma. About 1 out of every 15 Americans now suffers from asthma, according to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control. For young people, the rate is even higher. Today, it's the #1 chronic illness in children and the leading cause of missed school days due to chronic conditions. Despite an overall reduction in outside air pollution, the number of new cases and hospitalizations for asthma doubled between 1975 and 1995. In recent years, the rate of increase has slowed. The reason for this is unknown, although growing awareness of triggers and their avoidance may be a major factor. Although we don't yet know all the exact causes of asthma, we do know that a major factor in worsening of asthma symptoms is the inhalation of airborne triggers. The term trigger refers to any particle, gas, chemical, or biological agent which causes immediate asthma symptoms or leads to airway inflammation and chronic asthma. As it turns out, the greatest exposure is usually found indoors, where most of us spend the majority of our time. For some of us, common, everyday sources right inside the home can become asthma triggers. I'm Dave Blake with the Northwest Clean Air Agency in Mount Vernon, Washington. Asthma is a controllable disease. An important part of controlling asthma symptoms is controlling exposure to asthma triggers in the home. In this video, we'll show some simple steps to help you recognize and control asthma triggers in your home. Improving your indoor environment can help you achieve optimal asthma control. That means asthma symptoms occur twice a week or less, no nighttime or early morning awakening from asthma symptoms, no limitations at work, school, or during exercise, and your lungs are functioning at their best capacity. Since there's still much that's not known about asthma and what causes it, this program will stick to what is actually known or strongly suspected. What you're about to learn has been carefully reviewed for accuracy by a panel of experts. Stay tuned at the end for a list of additional links and resources for the latest up-to-date information. Let's get started with a brief explanation of what asthma is. In brief, asthma is a disease that affects the airways that bring air into your lungs. During an asthma attack, the muscles around airways tighten, and the airways become inflamed and fill with mucus, making it difficult to breathe. Over time, the airways may become permanently narrowed.
We don't quite know what causes asthma. We understand that there is a genetic predisposition in many people with asthma. We know that having parents with allergy will increase the potential for developing asthma. So we know there's an interaction between our genetic makeup, our genetic structure that we inherit from our mother and father, but also that interaction with the environment, such as allergen exposures, dust mite in the home, mold in the home, tobacco smoke exposure may be a factor in triggering asthma, and viral upper respiratory infections are also important in the development of asthma. How those factors interact is a complex issue that is under intense study.
Specific asthma triggers vary from person to person. This video will focus on managing and controlling exposures to triggers in your home. In addition to the indoor triggers discussed here, other triggers known to worsen asthma symptoms include colds, pollens, exercise, cold air, outdoor air pollution, and even strong emotions. We've all noticed floating particles in household air when the sun beams in through a window, right? While you can't always see them, you'll find them in every home. Some of these tiny particles, much smaller than the width of human hair, are asthma triggers for susceptible individuals. Floating among the household dust, they are easily inhaled into the lungs. Some of the major indoor asthma triggers that we know about are dust mite allergens, secondhand tobacco smoke, pet dander, cockroach allergens, rodent urine and dander, and molds. These allergens have been conclusively linked with asthma in sensitive individuals. Other agents found in the home may also play a role in triggering asthma, but more research is needed. The suspected triggers include pesticides and volatile organic compounds known as VOCs. VOCs are found in numerous everyday products such as fragrances and personal care items, cleaning supplies, floor coverings, paints, stains, mothballs, dry cleaning products, caulks, adhesives, pressed wood products, furniture, and more. In reality, eliminating exposure to all triggers, both known and suspected, is not always practical or affordable. Since there's not yet evidence that avoiding triggers can prevent asthma, current expert advice is to focus on those triggers to which a particular person is most sensitive. Allergy skin testing performed at a medical office is the best way to determine sensitivity to a specific allergen such as mold, dust mites, pets, rodents, or roaches. Blood tests are also available to detect allergy by measuring allergic antibody levels. Other triggers can be assessed by noticing whether exposure causes symptoms. Preventing these pollutants from getting into your lungs means doing your best to eliminate or control asthma triggers in your home. Sure, each different kind of asthma trigger can be controlled with its own step-by-step targeted strategy, and we'll get to those in a moment. But we've also developed a more general approach for managing a whole host of triggers with just 5 basic steps. This comprehensive 5-step strategy will take you a long way down the path toward creating a relatively trigger-free living space. We'll follow up with specific control strategies for each of the listed triggers. For the 5-step approach, we want our homes dry, clean, and comfortable. We need to find and control the pollutant sources that can trigger asthma. And we need to keep our living space well ventilated with fresh outside air. Too much moisture indoors provides a wonderful environment for the proliferation of many asthma triggers. Dust mites need moist air to thrive, and moisture is an essential factor in mold growth. VOCs are more readily released when exposed to moist air. If you control moisture, you help control many triggers. First, ensure your home doesn't allow water entry from outside by maintaining your roof, gutters, downspouts, windows, and site drainage. Damp, often less desirable air from basements and crawl spaces can be pulled into the living spaces of your home through cracks and utility penetrations by the force of warm air rising. Wet building materials not only provide breeding grounds for mold and bacteria, but can result in expensive long-term damage to the value of your property. Next, control the moisture within the home by being aware of moisture sources such as people and pets breathing, showers and baths, cooking, cleaning, and laundry. Use exhaust fans and make sure the home has sufficient outside air ventilation to flush out moisture produced from daily living. More on ventilation in a minute. Monitor moisture levels in your home with a reliable relative humidity gauge available in home electronics stores. Use mechanical dehumidifiers, if needed, to keep your home, in general, between about 30 and 50% relative humidity. Step 2 is to keep your home clean. You'll want to reduce the exposure to airborne particles by attacking them at their source. When particles do us the favor of settling onto surfaces in the home, damp wipe them up, rinse them down the sink and forever out of your breathing zone. Follow with a dry cloth. Focus on cleaning for health, not just appearance. New microfiber towels and mops capture and hold many more particles than traditional materials, and they can be laundered and reused.
I'm Rich Pearl with the Washington State University. Most of our homes these days have large surface areas of carpet, a huge potential reservoir of asthma triggers. Foot traffic and play release triggers from carpets to the breathing zone, a factor of increased importance for children who breathe close to or at the floor level. Fabric upholstered furniture, bedding, drapes, and so forth can also be a reservoir or a sink that can trap, store, and release asthma triggers when these materials are disturbed. If you must have carpet, we recommend using a high-quality vacuum cleaner with a HEPA secondary filter or double-layer dust bag. Try to vacuum when sensitive individuals are not around, because even the best vacuums will still kick up dust. Vacuum with doors and windows open to allow airflow to carry airborne triggers outside. For peak performance, change the filter bag when about half full and frequently check the beater bar for built-up hair and fibers that slow rotation. Take your vacuum outside to change the filter bag. Vacuum or mop hard surface floors. Avoid dry sweeping. It raises too much dust.
Okay, you're doing a good job of house cleaning, controlling sources of particles that get airborne. But what else can be done to scrub particles from the air? If you have a forced air heating or cooling system, make sure you change the filter regularly. It's also worth upgrading your system's filter in order to capture more of these tiny, tiny particles. Be sure to get professional advice to ensure your system can safely handle the restriction to airflow caused by high-grade filters. Let's say you don't have a forced air system, or if you do, it isn't capable of handling a high-efficiency filter upgrade. Consider a standalone HEPA air cleaning device recommended for particulate triggers like secondhand smoke, pollen, pets, or mold. Remember, air cleaners are not a cure-all. They will not clean your house for you. Air cleaners are a finishing touch after all the hard work is done. Let's take a moment to note that just by keeping our homes clean and dry, we've gone a long way toward controlling a variety of triggers: mold, dust mites, cockroaches, and other pests, and the need to use pesticides to control them. We're doing well. Let's keep going. Strive to keep your home at a comfortable temperature and level of relative humidity. Simply put, relative humidity is the amount of moisture in the air. Maintain the relative humidity between 30 and 50%. Another major comfort factor is an adequate supply of fresh outside air ventilation, which we will cover in just a moment. Pollutant control starts with identifying the potential sources of particle and chemical pollution in your home. Make a list and decide on a control strategy. Remove and keep these pollutants out of the living space. Even capped, many of these products can still leak fumes into the air. Switch to safer cleaning products. Remove alkyd paints, thinners, pesticides, and other household chemicals. Perhaps most important, never smoke inside the home or even in an attached garage. If possible, remove the fabric reservoirs that trap and hold pollutants. Substitute wall-to-wall carpeting with area rugs, or better yet, hard surface flooring, especially in bedrooms. Remove heavy drapes and transition to slick-surfaced furniture rather than upholstered. Control unintentional or unwanted entry of triggers into your living space from the outdoors or from places like basements, crawl spaces, attics, and garages. These triggers hitchhike with air currents through utility openings and cracks. A well-sealed house, equipped with a properly installed and maintained mechanical ventilation system, is not only cleaner and healthier, but also more comfortable and energy efficient. Crack a window when you run exhaust fans or clothes dryers. If your house is closed up tight and you turn on an exhaust fan or 2 or 3, right? And the clothes dryer is also running, pulling air out of the house, the replacement air has to come from somewhere. What goes out must come in. If all your doors and windows are closed, the replacement air could be pulled from the crawl space, basement, attic, wall cavities, or another potential source of asthma triggers. Step 5 of our comprehensive strategy is proper ventilation. All homes need to be ventilated with fresh outside air. Fresh air flowing through your home will dilute and flush your used air outside, carrying with it built-up moisture and airborne triggers that have concentrated in your breathing zone. Our newer homes, built within the last decade or so, have become more energy efficient through careful sealing against air leaks. These so-called airtight homes prevent air from entering through unplanned openings, but we need to compensate by providing fresh air with excellent mechanical ventilation through properly designed and located air inlets. How much ventilation your home needs depends on many factors. Key among these are the number of people in the home, water usage, furnishings, pets, and the existence of combustion cooking and heating appliances. And that's the basic 5-step strategy for general asthma trigger control. Keep your home dry, clean, comfortable, control the sources of pollutants, and maintain good ventilation. The nitty-gritty details of ventilation systems and controls, sealing against pollutant entry, preventing mold growth, and so forth are beyond the scope of this video. So stay tuned at the end and we'll provide a list of additional resources. For many people, the most efficient strategy for asthma trigger control is to focus on the specific trigger or triggers to which they're sensitive. Now we're going to focus on detailed strategies you can use to combat these specific asthma triggers. Dust mites, pet dander, chemicals, wood smoke, volatile organic compounds, pollen, cockroaches, and mold. This pretty face belongs to a dust mite. Fortunately, these fearsome-looking critters are microscopic, but what they lack in size, they make up for in numbers. They dwell by the tens of thousands in our bedding, upholstery, and carpeting, feeding off the vast number of tiny skin scales each of us humans constantly shed each day. Pleasant thought, right? Controlling these unseen critters is important because scientific studies have proven that dust mites in the home are associated not only with making asthma symptoms worse, but they can also be a factor in developing the disease in the first place. The first step in controlling dust mite populations in your home is to control relative humidity. This is because dust mites need about 60% relative humidity or more to survive. If you can keep your home below 50% relative humidity, most dust mites will dry up and die off. Even so, their dead little body parts and fecal pellets they've left behind are still triggers, so use your household cleaning strategy to finish the job. Remember, you can lower relative humidity by controlling moisture sources, by increasing ventilation, and with use of dehumidifiers. Studies show the single most important place to control dust mite allergen exposure is in your bed, where, due to the humid conditions under the covers, allergens accumulate over time. Encase your mattress, pillows, and box spring in anti-dust mite covers. The breathable fabric weave is so tight, even a dust mite can't get through. You can find these covers by searching online or in the home furnishing section of many stores. Next, wash bedding weekly in water that, including the bedding, is hotter than 130 degrees Fahrenheit to kill dust mites. If you know what you're doing, you can turn the water heater up an hour before laundry time, if you can remember to turn it back down when washing is done. Prolonged elevated temperatures shorten the lifespan of the heater and present a scalding hazard. The greatest exposure to dust mite allergens may be in the bedroom, but anything that collects dust can be a home to dust mites. If at all possible, remove dust collectors like wall-to-wall carpeting and heavily upholstered drapes and furniture. Replace it with area rugs, easy-to-dust blinds, vinyl, or leather furniture. Plush toys can be washed or even frozen for 48 hours to get rid of mites. Regular dust removal and vacuuming is a must. Vacuum both carpets and upholstered furniture. Pet dander, especially from cats and dogs, is another known asthma trigger. Dander comes from the tiny flakes of dried saliva on skin, fur, or feathers shed by all warm-blooded animals. For someone with asthma, a pet allergy can trigger an attack or make symptoms worse. If a pet allergy is triggering someone's asthma, the most effective way to remedy the situation is to remove the pet from the home. This may be a hard choice, but it's the only solution that will completely eliminate the exposure. However, finding a safe and appropriate new home for Maggie is not always possible. If that's the case, the next best option is to limit the allergic person's exposure as much as you can. If you can't remove the animal from the house, at least keep it completely out of the affected person's bedroom, coupled with thorough and aggressive house cleaning. Use HEPA vacuums, microfiber cleaning products, and HEPA room air cleaners. Upgrade your furnace filter if you can. Washing pets regularly may offer some relief, but this has not been proven. Bathe cats at your own risk. Of the known chemical asthma triggers, number one on the list is secondhand tobacco smoke. There's no question that secondhand smoke is linked with the onset of asthma in preschool-age children. Studies show that older children and adults will suffer increased asthma symptoms in households where smoking is allowed. To eliminate exposures, never allow smoking indoors, or in the car, or even in an attached garage. If you or anyone in the home does smoke, always go outside for the sake of your children and others in the household.
Exposure to high levels of nitrogen oxides is another known chemical trigger associated with making asthma symptoms worse. Oxides of nitrogen are produced from the burning of gas, liquid, and solid fossil fuels. Make sure gas cooking appliances, such as ranges and ovens, are always ventilated directly to the outside by an effective kitchen exhaust fan. Remember to open a window or run your household ventilation system to bring in additional outside air. Never use room-vented or so-called ventless or unvented gas or kerosene space heaters indoors.
Gas furnaces should be routinely serviced and inspected for evidence of backdrafting. Backdrafting is when harmful combustion fumes are pulled down the exhaust flue and into the inside air. In a tightly built home, it takes very little competing pressure to cause backdrafting. Check your gas water heater for proper venting and potential backdrafting at the same time. Carbon monoxide alarm devices are relatively inexpensive and will alert you to the presence of combustion gases. Place alarms where you can hear them at night. Avoid using wood-burning stoves and fireplaces if there is an asthmatic person in the house. The fine particles and other compounds in wood smoke are known irritants that may worsen asthma symptoms. Studies have shown that smoke emitted out of your chimney can often easily get back into your home. If you must use wood for heating, you can limit exposures by ensuring the equipment is installed properly, receives regular maintenance, and is EPA certified. Be continually alert for spillage or backdrafting. Even airtight stoves leak and spill, especially when starting fires, loading wood as fires burn down, or when exhaust fans and clothes dryers are operated in airtight structures. Do not burn wet wood, and do not store wood indoors as it can release moisture and mold. Burn hot fires. Avoid smoldering, incomplete combustion. Never burn plastics, trash, plywood, painted, or treated lumber.
Volatile organic compounds, known as VOCs, are emitted by a wide array of products numbering in the tens of thousands. VOCs are suspected of playing a role in the development or worsening of asthma symptoms, but studies so far have not yet confirmed an association. Even though a definitive link has not yet been proven, we recommend that people limit their exposures to odors from these products as much as possible. Get rid of any unwanted or unneeded chemicals in the home. Even closed containers are prone to leak over time. This single step will help lower exposures to VOCs. Do not simply toss them in the garbage can, but check with your local authorities about how to properly dispose of various household wastes. Many products these days can be found with low VOC formulations, but even low VOC products should be applied outdoors whenever possible. If used indoors, provide plenty of ventilation with outside air, and schedule use when sensitive individuals are not present. Purchase furnishings and household items carefully. Products made with particle board, rubber, vinyl, foams, and some fabrics may outgas VOCs you can easily smell when new. The rate of outgassing typically decreases over time, so consider allowing these products to outgas elsewhere until you feel comfortable bringing them into your house. Many of today's cleaning products have safe, non-chemical alternatives. For instance, a vinegar and salt mixture makes an effective all-purpose cleaner. Ask your local suppliers for green, more environmentally friendly cleaning products. You can find more cleaning product alternatives on the Environmental Protection Agency website. Other suspected asthma triggers, like pollens, enter homes through open windows, door openings, air leakage sites, and are tracked in from the outside with people and pets. Keep homes closed up during pollen episodes and use whole house ventilation systems to deliver and filter outside air. For pollen allergic individuals without air conditioning, consider using anti-pollen window filters during the summer. To reduce day-to-day exposure and help keep your home cleaner automatically, be sure to wipe feet before coming inside, and place a washable track-off mat inside all exterior doors. Better yet, adopt a no-shoe policy, at least for family members. Why chase dirt all over the house when it can stop at the door? Instead of pesticides, try using the safer and proven principles of integrated pest management, known as IPM. IPM is a technique to get rid of unwanted pests using the least toxic, effective methods. You can find out more about IPM methods for your particular pest problem online or from your state's extension office or equivalent. One particular pest, the cockroach, has been shown to increase the severity of asthma symptoms in people sensitive to cockroach allergens. Cockroaches are found in all types of neighborhoods, apartments, condominiums, and homes, both old and new. The number one way to discourage cockroaches from moving in with you is to make your home less attractive to these pests. Cockroaches are attracted to food and water, so keep food and garbage in closed, tight-lidded containers. Never leave food out in the kitchen, even pet food. Limit the spread of food around the house and especially keep food out of bedrooms. Eliminate water sources such as leaky faucets and drain pipes. Mop the kitchen floor and wash countertops at least once a week. Use integrated pest management techniques to reduce cockroach infestation. Mold in and around your home is another trigger known to be associated with making asthma symptoms worse. Molds release thousands of microscopic spores and other fine particles into the air. Current research suggests that mold may also be a factor in the development of asthma, but more study is needed. While the research continues, it makes good sense to limit exposure. The critical factor to remember is that molds need moisture to thrive. The key to getting rid of mold is to locate and stop the source of the moisture. Moisture might be getting in from outside through structural leaks, from plumbing leaks indoors. Moisture could be building up inside as a byproduct of our very moist lifestyles: breathing, cooking, cleaning, showering, etc. Proper ventilation through the house will help control high relative humidity that leads to condensation on cool surfaces and consequent mold growth. Once you've identified and permanently fixed the moisture problem, you can follow guidance for careful cleanup of the mold. And those are some of the control strategies you can use to combat specific asthma triggers. You'll find additional resources for asthma control listed at the end of this program. Asthma can't be cured, but it can be controlled. Remember to keep your home dry, clean, comfortable, pollutant-free, and well-ventilated. We hope this video has provided a practical approach to trigger control that you can adapt to work for your family. Remember, Optimal asthma management means your lungs are functioning at their best capacity and asthma symptoms occur twice a week or less. There will be no nighttime or early morning awakening from asthma symptoms and no limitations at work, school, or during exercise. Please share this video with others to help the effort to stamp out asthma. On behalf of the Northwest Clean Air Agency, I'm Dave Blake.